Hello, everyone, and welcome in to School Talk on 98.5 WJHI LP Jeffersonville, home of the Red Devil Network. A show today that's going to be filled with more of the sports side of things as we head in to the beginning of the fall sports season here on August the 18th. And we're bringing in another head coach, and this one a little bit of a trendsetter to say the least here at Jeffersonville High School. It's Coach Ericka, who is the academic football coach for Jeffersonville High School, the first female coach at Jeff High on the football team in the history of the school, and she's also the track coach for Jeffersonville. How are we doing today, Coach?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Doing well. We're about to have the season start here coming up near the end of the week here, Floyd Central versus Jeffersonville in football. Speak a little bit, if we go into it, your role as the academic coach for the football team. I know when you took the role a year ago, you weren't really even looking for it. I know as busy as you are, but talk about how that role came about and what intrigued you working with Coach Parker on to become the academic coach for Jeffersonville football.
Well, as you stated, I am the academic football coach here, and the position just came about when Coach Parker just gave me a phone call and said he wanted to meet with me face to face. So essentially, when I went to visit with him, he said that he would like to bring me on board, and he felt like I would be a good connection with the student athletes. And from there, we began to discuss my role, which is primarily I am in charge of checking the grades for our student athletes, just making sure that they are on target. And very regularly, I meet with teachers as well as those athletes to develop plans when they start slipping. And we do a regular printout of their grades. And we have a certain regimen that we follow to make sure that their grades stay where they need to be at.
I always laugh when we go around the school and people will come up to me, whether they're outside the community or inside the school, and they're looking to talk about the athletic department. People are saying, who's the coach that kind of strikes the fear in most people's eyes? Is it Coach Parker? Is it Coach Boyles? And I'm like, not even close. It's Coach Hurd. Whenever Coach Hurd calls, everybody gets scared because they know they've got to go down and take care of their academics. You really have developed, a fear from the athletes of, hey, the authority, the discipline. They know when they get a phone call from you, it's serious. Where did you get that kind of no-nonsense coaching mentality? Because it's hilarious when I walk around. Everybody is, from an athlete standpoint. If you mention Coach Hurd, they're like, I don't know if I want to. I got to make sure my grades are up. How did you develop that?
That's funny. I never really thought about it. I'm sure that people have mentioned me being they're a little fearful of me, but hopefully it's a respectful fear. I know my dad, he didn't play about grades, and my mom, nor did she. So I think I probably have inherited that from them. I'm just me.
Now, you talked about your dad, and we've mentioned this before. Your dad being a former college coach, how much did you learn from him growing up about the game of football and coaching in general, not just being an academic coach, but also being the leader of the track squad?
Well, see, my father, he played at Lincoln, Missouri, and that's where he began his coaching career there as a graduate assistant before he moved on to other universities. So growing up watching football with him, he didn't have any boys, so we were his boys. And we learned a lot. A lot of times we would sit in meetings just watching him write plays together on, at that time it was chalkboards. And just really, I think the biggest part that I was able to take away from him was developing a relationship with his athletes. We would have frequent Sunday dinners where he would have guys on the team come over, and they may bring their girlfriends or whatever. And I think it was through that, just watching him really taught me the importance of developing rapport with your athletes. If you have that rapport with your athletes, you can pretty much talk about anything and just really come to a mutual understanding of who they are, and they respect you more as a coach.
Being the girls' coach for the track team, from your standpoint, I know what you talked about, discipline and authority, really leading a group of kids. What is kind of your style when it comes to dealing with the kids day to day? How much did your father influence that in terms of, how do you relate to kids, and what's kind of your way from a coaching standpoint that you like to go out and lead from a day-to-day perspective?
Well, I think that as coaches, period, we want to have this role, whereas we have a blanket policy. And it sounds good, but the reality of it is every kid is different. Every kid is unique. They all come from a different background. They're all different. And so as a coach, you have to learn to when to bend the rule, when to use it, appropriately. And you have to see that kid for who he or she is. So it's sometimes it's a judgment call, and it's difficult to do that. So for me, that's where I said rapport comes in. I really have to know who it is that I'm dealing with.
When you look at coaching now during Corona, and I've spoke to almost all the coaches now on the athletic staff, looking at challenges, what for you as the academic coach trying to stay on top of kids and make sure that they're up to date with their grades, what's been the biggest challenge for you?
Well, right now, we have a ton of children, or students, I should say, that are online, and I know having that face-to-face contact is necessary, but where we are right now, it's also very difficult. So I think that just trying to keep up with their grades, and it's still early, so it's still kind of hard to tell. So I don't even know if that's a fair question, but not being able to have that interaction with them consistently with all of my athletes, because some are online, and I don't get to see all of them regularly.
When Coach Parker was up here a few weeks ago, we were talking about the blueprint of how to build the football program and some of his philosophies. I thought a real turning point last year, and I couldn't remember exactly what the week is, but when you all implemented the no F policy, and you stuck with it, and I thought that was really the difference when it came to the mentality of the team and how the players looked, not only in terms of athletics, but how they took their grades seriously. You all really were steadfast in the sense of you didn't relax. I see a lot of schools that when kids that are maybe star athletes or upper on the skill level, they relax a little bit when it comes to grades. You all were strong with that all the way up to the end of the season.
Yes.
Tell me what impact you think that had on the team and the future of the football program, because I thought it made a big impact of showing, hey, academics come first here, football is secondary.
Absolutely. Well, first off, if you are representing the team, our school, we just felt like that an F is unacceptable. Yes, there are certain times where you may have a bad test. Something may have went on to impact your grade, but we gave our athletes every opportunity to get those grades up. So it wasn't just like, okay, you got an F, you're done. But what we were trying to do was just set the tone for the teams to come, and you have to start somewhere. Typically, it is the rule had been if you are passing 5 or more core classes, then you're good. But we felt like that's not good enough. We need to hold them to a higher standard, set the bar a little bit higher, so that way that we've set this path out for all of the other ones who were to come. So I think it made a huge impact on us. Right now, you talk about when you hear about the kids in the hallway talking about Coach Hurd calling you, and I think that's good in that sense, because they know that they don't want that phone call. And I do try to call just to say, hey, I want to tell you did a really good job this week on your progress report, yada yada, it looks great. But primarily the ones that I'm targeting are those ones that may be struggling, and we want to get them before they slip too far between the cracks.
Here with Coach Ericka Hurd, who's the leader of the girls track team at Jeffersonville High School, the head coach, and also the first female football coach in the history of Jeff High, leading the academic side on School Talk on August the 18th, 98.5 WJHI. For you, Coach, I know we've spent a lot of time talking about football, and we can talk a little bit about that more, but describe your path growing up. I know we mentioned the football side, but from a track standpoint, what got you interested in the sport, and what eventually led you to Jeffersonville High School and becoming the head coach here? I know obviously you've had a ton of success you can list off from a coaching standpoint, but individually, how did you get into the sport, and what led you to Jeff High?
Oh, that's a loaded question. Actually, I remember it like it was yesterday. I was running on the track at my father's university, Eastern Illinois University, another school that he coached at, and he was on the football field, and he said, why don't you go run? Why don't you go do something?
He's just trying to move you away
And
from the
yeah,
field.
that's exactly how it started. And I just took off and I was just running. And then one of his players said to him, he laughs when he tells his story. Hey, coach, do you know she's still running? She ran a whole mile. And that was like, that opened the door to my dad, like, oh, this girl might be good at track and field. And so he took me to my first college track and field meet there at the university. And that just seeing those girls win, it just excited me like never before. And so from elementary school, you remember like the presidential fitness awards?
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah. So I was beating everybody in that. And I was trying to kill everybody in the flex arm hang, the shuttle run, all that stuff. And so for me, also, it was an outlet in Eastern Illinois at the time, which is where Charleston, Illinois University is. There were not many minorities at all. I was one of 3 blacks in my entire elementary school, and that was tough, especially moving from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So when I had the opportunity to shine through sports, it just opened up a whole new world for me. Instead of being called racial slurs every day, now I was like the go-to girl. I was the it girl because everybody wanted me on their team. So it broke down a lot of racial barriers for me, track and field. And eventually I went on to play basketball in high school. Also was a cheerleader, and I earned a track and field scholarship to Eastern Kentucky University. That was how I got to Kentucky. And then as far as coming specifically to Jeffersonville High School, I put in an application. I just wanted something different to teach here. And I got the job to teach. And the following Monday, I received a phone call to start coaching here. At the time, I was coaching at Ballard High School. We had a really successful program over there as well. And anyhow, when the job here became available for me to start coaching, I thought it was a little bit of irony because the last time that I came here to compete with my team at Ballard, it was not the same name. It wasn't the Inferno Classic that we do now. I can't remember what the name was. It was slightly different, but nonetheless, the Red Devils had beat the Bruins by 1 point, and I
Really?
swore I would never, ever step foot on this track again. That's the irony to it, and I guess God has a sense of humor because I'm back here coaching, and this is year 10, and I absolutely love it.
Now, what inspires you to coach? I know your dad being a coach, I'm sure, has a certain influence on it, but for you, what turned from being an athlete into a coach? Because I think people get it confused a lot. Athletes a lot of times, they go into coaching and maybe it doesn't translate very well. Coaching's a different style than just going out and play. What inspired you to coach, and what clicked for you that said this is what I want to do?
Well, my first coaching job was right out of college, and I was actually a volunteer track coach at Central High School over in Louisville. And I volunteer my time, just kind of, I wanted to be around it. I love young people, have always been attracted to young people. Growing up, Mom always said I was good with kids. And nonetheless, I kind of, through coaching, I walked into teaching. I didn't go to school to study education. My major was journalism. My minor was Spanish. So this whole where I'm at now, it's crazy how it all played out. But for me, I like to win. You can hear people say all day long that, it's not about winning. That's not me. What motivates me is everything I do. And when I say everything, I try to smash it. I try to be the best at it. I want to win. Yeah, it hurts to lose, but that's how you learn how to win, when you lose. So it's a process. So for me, I'm always trying to figure out, okay, how can I get back on top? How can I do this? How can I do that? And then I feel like as a track coach, my whole goal not only is to win, but also to teach these young ladies how to win off the track. Just like with the football team, we may not win on the gridiron every single week, but I'm going to do my best to teach them how to win in the classroom. So when you think about sports in general, yes, I think most people want to win, but there's also another piece that goes with that. And the biggest piece is being able to win outside of the sport that you participate in, winning at life. Because I know for me, that's what track and field taught me, was how to be successful at life. I mean, some of the great coaches that I had taught me about punctuality, taught me about discipline, taught me about just working harder and things like that. So I think when we're able to teach these young people those qualities, give them those skills through sports, they are winning.
For you, I know competitiveness, you just mentioned how big a part of it is with your life, and it's hard to keep track of you because you're doing so many different things. Besides, you're doing the track coaching, you're doing football coaching with the academic side. I know as well you're doing motivational speaking and modeling. How did those two paths come about? And I mean, it just seems like you have your slate completely filled 24/7.
Sometimes my mom gets on me and she's like, "You're doing too much. You're doing too much." And I always have to tell her, "Oh, Mom, when I die, then that's when I'll sleep." I basically, the modeling that I do is more fitness modeling. I like sports. I feel like as a coach, I want to look the part. I feel like that your physique is a huge advertisement for you as a coach. I know I get a lot of students and athletes that ask me about what can they do to improve their speed, what can they do to improve their eating, different things like that. So how do I do it all? It's tough sometimes, and I'm learning how to say no, to be honest. So sometimes I struggle with that, but I'm a helper. I like to help people, so it's hard to say no. So the other part of your question, I think I answered it. What was that second part?
I was gonna say it was really come down to how are you balancing all of it. I mean, it's just so much. It seems like you're doing from, again, the coaching side, the motivational speaking. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, again, you're taking this all under your plate. How do you keep up with it?
I think the biggest thing is I enjoy life. I think that life is what you make of it. And there's an old saying that talks about that dash in between when you're born and when you're going to die. And I know that sounds, kind of sad, but, I want to make sure that whatever God has for me, that it's fulfilled, that while I'm here on this earth, I want to do the very best that I can. And the very best that I can isn't just about me. It's about helping other people.
What do you think when you look at things that you want to accomplish? Do you have, because I know you got a long career ahead of you still, what is maybe on your plate that you want to add to it, or maybe say, okay, I want to drop this and do that? Is there anything in the next, say, 10 years that you might want to add or take away? Because I know this isn't going to be the end for you. You're going to find something else to do that's going to attract your interest.
Actually, I think eventually I would like to definitely teach on the collegiate level. And hopefully in the near future, I'll be able to have a family per se, not just myself and my daughter, but I have some aspirations, of course, to be a Mrs. one day, and we'll see how that goes.
I was gonna say you got. I know you got your daughter, and you've got so many things in there. I'm telling you, it's hard to keep up with your schedule. That's awesome, looking at the bigger picture.
Thank you.
As we wrap up here on School Talk, the last question I wanted to ask you is this. You've had so many questions, and I think so many people have come around and asked you this, but I wanted to get to it from the sense of, what does it mean to you to be that first female coach at Jeffersonville High School on the football side? I know you've certainly proved yourself as a track coach, but not only just for Jeff, but really the whole Southern Indiana area. You have to be the first coach for the football side that's a female. What did that mean to you, and how do you think that will open up doors down the road for other women to get into the football world?
Great question. When I think of what I have accomplished, and like I said, it wasn't anything that I filled out an application for. It's just one of those things that just kind of fell into my hands. I think of people like Billie Jean King.
Yes.
And she's still an advocate for women equality, for gender equality rather. And I'm hoping that what I've done, like you said, will open up other doors and just give women that feeling that, you know what, hey, she did it, I can do it too. I mean, I put on my pants the same way everybody else does. So you never know what opportunities will open for you. Sometimes when things look a little blurry or you really don't know the direction that you're going, you just have to keep your head up and just keep moving forward. And sometimes when opportunities come to you, you just have to accept them and roll with it and see what happens. And that's pretty much what I did.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you coming in. I'd also like to say I brought up in the interview, but really excited for not only what you've done with the track program, but getting the athletes all on board with academics and really changing, I think, the culture of a lot of athletes around here and throughout the school. I know we've got a really impressive coaching staff that's around now in all spaces, but you deserve a lot of credit
Thank
from the academic side, because I know as well, you're not just doing with the football team. I know other sports are wanting you to work as well, and you've been able to maintain a chaotic schedule, but I know it's really made an impact on the kids, and it's made an impact with the coaches and really the people of the community. Is, you know, there's been a different standard set here at Jeffersonville, and you deserve a lot of credit for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
That is Coach Ericka Hurd, the track coach for Jeffersonville girls track, and also the academic coach for Jeffersonville football, and really she's turning into the academic coach for all sports here at Jeff High. We thank you for tuning in to School Talk today. I'm Clay Abels. This is 98.5 WJHI. If you want to watch the replay of School Talk here on August the 18th, the show replays every day at 1 and 7 p.m. on the Red Devil Network. That is on 98.5 FM, streaming on WJHI.com, also on TV Cable 184. And we added this last week, the new wrinkle of YouTube. You can watch this show on replay on the YouTube channel. It'll be uploaded later in the week. For Coach Hurd, I'm Clay Abel saying so long here on School Talk. Thank you for tuning in to 98.5 WJHI, LP Jeffersonville, home of the Red Devil Network.